welcome back to Women in Film, the podcast. We are here for our third and final episode, where our feature film today is Barbie. So we're going to have a lot of positive outlooks today. So our host, as per usual, is myself, Caitlin. We have Julie.
Hello.
Allie.
Hi.
And Reagan.
Hey.
So here it goes. Oh, and everybody, if you haven't watched the Barbie movie, please pause the podcast, go watch it, and come back to us. We don't want to spoil anything for you.
So Barbie is a 2023 live-action movie where they talked about feminist issues in the world, but they put it in Barbie world to kind of make it more fun and more interesting way of going about it. It could be watched by kids, but it was mostly made for adults, and because of that, it did receive a lot of controversy about people saying that it was too feminist, but we're just going to kind of dive into our thoughts on it and just give some opinions here and there about how it handled those issues.
So, like, it starts off stereotypical Barbie, like, she starts to think about thoughts of death, which I thought was, like, really interesting, because that's not really portrayed. Like, female characters in movies don't get to talk about that side of their feelings. It never gets to happen. So she went to talk to Weird Barbie.
Like, the Weird Barbie, like, when she was talking to Weird Barbie, she was like, but I'm just Barbie. Like, you're Dr. Barbie, you're Nurse Barbie, you're whatever Barbie, and I'm just... Like, I forget, what'd she say? I'm just stereotypical Barbie.
Yeah.
Like, she kept saying stuff like that and how she felt like she had no purpose, but all of the other Barbies kind of riled together to tell her that wasn't true at all.
Yeah, it's like in her fictional, like, world, or in the Barbie world, like, it was already given to her to be Barbie, even though, like, there could be more to it.
Yeah.
So then when she went to the real world, like, there was so much more that could be given to her. And with, like, perseverance, like, she got a job and she was able to go out in the real world and, like, see what she really wanted. But then at the same time, she's seen how sad life was for certain women. So not only was the movie, like, empowering women, but it was also showcasing troubles in general.
Yeah, and it kind of, like, gave her motivation to, like, fight for women, and she now realizes what's going on, so she's going to better herself for other women type of thing. So that kind of, like, brings into my point that I noticed a lot, which was, like, showing the real struggles, like you had said, of Barbie and all of the other Barbies. Like, usually in film, there isn't screen time for that kind of stuff. Like, it's all under wraps. Like, what women are going through are being hidden. And it kind of brought me back to the topic that we talked about in class of effective labor. How, like, they have to present themselves in a certain way when they work. Like, being caring in a hospital or, you know, being flirtatious to an extent when being a waitress. But, like, in this one, right off the bat, like, it showcased her thinking about death. Like, that was the main one. It was like, oh my gosh, like, she's thinking about death, that kind of thing. And the more she talked to Weird Barbie, it was like she was letting out all of these emotions that you never get to see happen in a film, which I really, really appreciated, because it makes you feel normal to feel, which is like, it was great. I really, really liked it.
Because, like, at the beginning, it was like, Barbie, like, you're happy, you're joyful, like, you're all sparkly.
Stereotypical Barbie.
And then now it's like, whoa, this, like, wave, and then it's, like, showing that, you know, and that's not all there is to woman. There's more. There's troubles. There's difficulties. There's thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Another struggle she had was, like, with the patriarchy, and when Barbie and Ken went into the real world, and Ken, like, discovered what patriarchy was, and he wanted to bring that into Barbie Land and, like, rule Barbie Land by Kens instead of Barbie. And then when he took over the dream house and
Mojo Dojo Casa House,
which is basically filled with horses, men, and toxic masculinity. And then also Barbie had some realizations about patriarchy when she was objectified and belittled in the real world by, like, the construction workers.
And, like, I feel like, well, like, the real world and the Barbie world, they weren't, like, complete opposites, but, like, patriarchy is, like, really man dominated, but in, like, the Barbie world, it was really woman, and, like, the men were in the background. So it's like he really liked that idea, so he just wanted to bring it back and turn that Barbie world into another patriarchal world.
Yes. Yeah, it was kind of like they weren't fighting for equality. It was more like women against men. But then, like, it took like a strong and empowered woman to kind of set things back into order, which I like, because usually like the hero at the end of the day is a man.
Yeah.
It's always a man. It's never a woman. The woman's just a side piece to the hero, and she's like, oh, I was there too. No, like in this one, like, you know, her and the other Barbies gang together, and it was just a strong female, feminist alliance. Yeah. And they brought everything back to balance, which I really, really liked.
Yeah.
I do feel that a lot of people thought that it was degrading men. Mm-hmm. I can see why, but at the same time, like, this wasn't a movie made to empower men, I guess. But it was really concentrated on women.
And I feel like the reason, like I totally get what you're saying too, and I feel like the reason why that degrading of men came about is because this was the first movie really that has been so popular and so big that was fully focused on a woman.
Yeah.
So I feel like obviously it's going to look like we're putting men down when really we're just showing like, hey, women are here too.
Yeah,
we're cool too.
too.
Exactly. So I feel like that's kind of where all that comes from, which again, loved.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like if they made a movie like about the opposite, I guess like, I mean, I don't know if it would.
But they wouldn't even have to.
No.
They wouldn't have to because men are always the star anyway.
Yeah.
But this time it was finally women in the role, you know?
Yeah, so and I also think that's like really important to look at how the news kind of handled it, because a lot of people were saying that it was like feminist propaganda.
Definitely.
And like to go off what you guys are saying about like putting men down, it was supposed to depict how women are treated in the real world, but they made it men experiencing those things to help carry out that point. And that's why I think it's the last line of the movie, or it's one of the last lines of the movie. They say, like, maybe one day Kens will have as much power in Barbie world as women hope to in the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like they have, like, a Supreme Court, which is fully women, and, like, that's not a thing. And the Kens are like, oh, these women are making all these choices for the Kens. And it's like, in the real world, like, oh, these men are making decisions for women. And so it just was, like, I think that if you didn't understand where they were coming from, which they do add the line and make sure that you do, but like if you haven't experienced any form of discrimination based on your gender, I feel like you're not really going to understand where they're coming from. And they just were trying to, like, I guess, make it more understandable. Instead of being like, oh, another movie about women who are like trying to get justice, making about men trying to get justice, to kind of be like, see, if we treated you like this, there would be an uprising. We're treated like this, and there's not an uprising. So I think that was like something that was really heavily misconstrued in the media, because it's our first time seeing something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's important to like make alternative views and to like depict different ways of life in film, and this is like our first time seeing that.
Yeah. Like, it's really important to bring that in movies, and that Barbie was kind of like the beginning of bringing out those type of movies. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we could also say like that's why this was like a good example that we wanted to end off our podcast series on, because we've been talking a lot about like the faux pas and like the misdirection of like a lot of these movies, so we just wanted to like focus on the good.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. It was so nice to have you. We absolutely enjoyed filming this series so much, and we cannot wait maybe in the future to make another one. Who knows? But for now, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Life is your creation.
Come on, Barbie, let's go.